hanging out at the League Unlocked Studios. Eric and Mark with you guys, talking a little off-season news. And as we saw on Twitter, when Norskeren said, "I will likely not have a team for 2019 spring," Twitter was up in arms. They said, "How could you do that? He was a top 3 support." Mark was throwing things.
That's my boy.
That's his boy.
How's my boy not going to be in the LEC, being the number 4 rated support last year in the European LCS? How is he not going to be in the LEC? Tell me some good news here, please.
Luckily, everyone, including Mark here, took a deep breath, because it was announced that he's finalizing the Splyce roster as their starting support. So Norskeren, congrats.
Yeah.
He'll be back there in the 2019 LEC. He was just trolling. He was just playing with everybody. He knew he'd be back. I don't know if he actually did.
Yeah.
But that completes the Splyce roster. And on paper, it's not bad. It's not bad. Vizichachi in the top lane. Xerxes returns. Humanoid, one of many young rookies that'll be coming into this split. Kabe returns, and Norskeren gets a big upgrade at ADC. No offense, HQ.
Yeah, but the great thing here is Norskeren, my boy, getting a spot here in the LEC. Going to be starting off this inaugural LEC split here. This is great news for him, and even better news, actually, for Splyce fans, because you know what? Splyce was rumored to actually be in contract negotiations with a bunch of other supports at the time. And then they saw this little tweet from Norskeren going, "Oh, I don't think I'm going to be playing in the LEC next year." And they go, wait a minute, this guy is way too good to be sitting on the sidelines here this year. Absolutely need to pick this guy up. And what do? They snatch him right up. This is that good level of poaching, boys, right here.
And for Splyce, the good news is they actually have a roster, because they didn't think they were going to be part of the LEC. They said, all right, guys, good luck. Go find some teams. We're not going to be there in 2019. And then Riot gave them the follow-up phone call that said, my bad, boys, you are in the LEC. Hope you didn't get rid of all your players. Well, they lost 3 of them, but they got some pretty decent replacements. We'll have to see what Humanoid can do as a rookie against some pretty top-tier mid-lane talent, as is always the case in EU. But yeah, bringing in Norskeren is fantastic. He was great on Rocket, and quite frankly, I think at times made HQ get through the laning phase a little bit easier and made him look better than his actual performances dictated. So pairing him up with Kabe, that's going to be a strong bot lane.
Right, and not even in the laning phase that where you saw Norskeren really start to pop off for them, is that where the things that were going extremely well for them in those team fights, absolutely a lot of the time was Norskeren's doing there. Yes, he had a couple of missteps last year, but the way that he engaged in a lot of these fights, that's exactly what Splyce will be looking for. He will provide them so much value there in those type of positions, trying to get in there and make that right pick off. That's absolutely why Splyce wanted to pick someone up like him.
And obviously, some of the other big moves in EU have stolen the headlines with the likes of Misfits and G2, but that's a pretty solid roster that Splyce has put together. They should be happy with their offseason, and I think if they roll with those 5 guys, they have a pretty legitimate chance at making top 6 and getting to playoffs in the LEC. So good job from management so far in the offseason.
Yeah, I think this is absolute, especially given, again, that Splyce did not know exactly from Riot if they were going to be in the LEC.
Oh, they were at a huge disadvantage.
Right, and so to see them come out swinging right away and make a pretty solid lineup, not only with veterans, but as well picking up some young talent here and trying to develop things, I think this is a great roster for Splyce to be moving forward with, one that they can build an identity around, and their fans can really, have a couple of these players here, like an Odomwamne, things like that, where they can really just latch onto these guys and appreciate what they got here with Splyce Game.
And someone like Xerxes is still not even 20 years old. He's still developing, and we've seen he can play at the level of an all-pro jungler. And if he can develop that synergy with the likes of Vizichachi in that top lane and Humanoid with those solo lane action, then I think Xerxes could potentially be a top 4 jungler again in EU, because we've seen him play at that level before, and it's definitely not out of the ordinary that he could reach it again.
No, and I think that one of the other things that I think you have to remember here about Splyce is what Eric talked about earlier, the likes of Kabe. Kabe sticking with Splyce after all this time, been here forever, it seems, with this organization, and getting a little bit of a reward here, a little bit of piece of chocolate, getting this Norskeren signing here, because definitely this is the support that he's been waiting for quite a while here. This should allow them to have a lot more agency in lane, and then to get out of this laning phase that we talk about and have Norskeren make some of these picks mix, start to turn things over here, and get these games going.
Yeah, Kabe is the only remaining Splyce member that's been there from the very beginning. All 4 of his OG buddies have left, but he has stuck around and continues to be the face of that organization. One of the other teams that are filling out their rosters pretty nicely, got about 4/5 of it, and there are some rumors about their final spot, are XL, who are making their debut in the LEC, the United Kingdom UK-based team that's played in EU Masters and some other random tournaments around the minor regions out in EU. They've got 4 of their 5 guys, 2 UK guys, no surprise. They started it off by signing Kasing, which is great to have as a veteran captain on this squad. Jeskla comes in as a rookie AD carry. He was on the Movistar Riders out of the European Masters again. Exile comes in, and Cadril in the jungle. The beauty of all this is you have XL, Exile, which is just absolutely horrible to say for any of the casters. But that roster looks a lot weaker compared to other EU ones.
Oh, no flame here. I'm serious, guys.
Flamethrower's coming out.
And
Here
I'm
we go.
serious, guys. No flame here. Cadril? Really? What's going on here? Come on, you have someone like Amazing sitting on the sidelines right now.
Joko?
Given the year that he had, these guys? Come on. I don't know what's going on here with Excel. I don't know what they're trying to think here. And again, Cadril, no offense, but come on, man. Come on, man. Brad, you even got to know that someone like an Amazing here is absolutely a better type of professional level fit here. If Excel really wants to try and do anything this year, I don't think that this is exactly the lineup to do. And I know I'm picking here on the jungle position specifically, but I think that Excel needed to do a better job.
I honestly thought that Cadril was just going to go back to mid lane. I mean, he basically role swapped for H2K because there was a complete disaster there. He was a mid laner on Schalke. He was a mid laner to qualify for the EU LCS, and that's been his main role. So I thought he would just swap back to that. But it turns out he's staying as a jungler, and I've got to imagine the main reason that XL signed him, of course, he is still a talented player. He's still a professional player, but he is from the UK. Kasing from the UK. I think they wanted some local boys on the squad. That's the only reason I can give for signing him over the likes of someone like Amazing.
Right, and I mean, hey, no problem with making those type of moves, try to appease a local fan base, try to build it up, those type of things. But at the same time, yeah, this is your first ever exposure here right now at this top level in the European LCS LEC, and you're gonna try to make your roster not only do its best here, but you're gonna handicap yourself by picking players specifically just because they're from the UK. I don't agree with that type of decision making. I understand it, and I know that I've seen it in other sports as well, in other situations, and it's never worked out for the benefit of the club. You never gain enough fan support just by having a local boy. Usually the local fans turn on you because you know what they care about most of all?
The W's.
The W's. Get those results working for you, and XL Gaming, it looks like they're not prioritizing those W's very much early on.
And it's rumored that Expect maybe is going to come in that top lane, so we can have Exile or XL Expect and XL Exile. That's just horrible to say. But based on the other team signings, it looks like XL is going to be one of the bottom tier teams. Of course, we still don't know anything about SK Gaming. Just some rumors that maybe Pyrian's heading over to EU next. That's the next one on the block where he's going to prove that he's an all-star.